So in part two, we're gonna be trying to figure out exactly what went wrong. I'm going to take off the valve covers and see if the valves are bent or anything like that. Maybe I should loosen them up first. Drill's not the toughest drill around. Might be low on batteries too. The one question I did have, maybe somebody could comment if they know. Well, there's a pretty good gouge out of the cover right there. I never even noticed that. So I don't really know the technical names for this stuff, but the crank shaft bearing let go. That's what all that jazz is. And the piston rod broke. See it in there broken. I'm wondering, I've heard that the rod could have been caused by fatigue from the piston going up and down, up and down, up and down, changing directions and stuff. But I would think the crankshaft bearing went because of not getting lubrication. That's my guess. As you can see by the camshafts, they're in pretty good shape. Obviously you can see by inside there, without cleaning, inside the engine, it is really clean in there because I change the oil twice a year and only put about 30 hours a year on it. It calls for changing the oil at 50 hours. So I change it, quick math, that's almost 4 times what it requires. So the bearing failure shouldn't have happened, because that would be oil related, and I change the oil religiously. A fatigue in the rod, that would be just plain fatigue. It has nothing to do with oil. So I'm wondering if anybody would know, would the bearing fail because of the rod breaking and getting twisted? I think it might. But would the rod break because of the bearing failure? I'm not sure. Anybody have any comments or suggestions, let me know. But we'll get these heads off and take a look at the valves to see. I've heard if you overheat them, the valve guides come out and you get a good chance of bending the valve rod. So let's see here. It's like minus 15 outside, and most of my tools are in my baby barn. So I gotta improvise on how to. I brought my ratchet set in here, but I gotta improvise a little on the other things. Everything's being held pretty good. And of course, the exhaust I think I will need for the new engine. Oh, those babies are on there good. Give her some light taps. So that rod looks perfect. That, I believe, is the, yeah, that's the exhaust right there. So that's the steel rod, and this is the aluminum rod. Straight. and good. And looking in there, you can see that the valve guides have not come out. They're in there good, where they're supposed to be. So we'll turn it around and do the same thing on this side. I know that's probably not the preferred method, but I'm not hitting it very hard and not doing any major damage. Plus, this engine's pretty much gone. The cost for the replacement parts and the risk that the other piston rod will break, I'm not willing to take. I've sourced a new engine. I'm probably going to buy it in the next week or so and put it in. Nope. That one might be a little bit of a problem. That valve is again perfectly straight and good, and I'll try to give it a rotate if possible. Oh, that's dirty. There, that should do it. So again, perfectly straight and no wear at all on the edges. And I will pause this and come back. I gotta wash my hands out. They're really dirty. There ain't too many things that I've touched that I can't get off with soap, but man, whatever is on that crankshaft, it does not come off easily. So now that the valves are out, I believe the camshaft will come out. I think I just gotta push the lifters back here. Try to find a flathead. So there is the camshaft, and all the lobes look incredibly nice. The only problem with the camshaft is those missing teeth right there. The one thing I don't know is if this camshaft gear is stamped in there or how, but I do not believe it comes out. And if I'm not mistaken, there's supposed to be a compression release on this. I'm not sure if this engine had one or not, but yeah, all the lobes are really nice, no scratching, just that one place on the gear that's totally gone. And try to get this bearing off next. See what size that is. Too big. There we go. That bolt on the one side of the piston rod bearing wasn't even hardly on there. I didn't even apply any pressure. It was loose, so maybe that's why it came apart. I'll have to maybe it was loose and that's what caused it to fail, or maybe it just came right off. I don't know. We'll look through the scrap pile and see. I'm going to rotate the engine after this and see if I can't get that piston out of the other one. I might just take off the heads and get it that way. Because this crankshaft has a really big bolt that bolts it to the top of the engine, and I don't know if I have that big of a socket. So there's the bearing, and it feels smooth. Like I said, if any of you guys have insight on this stuff, feel free to put it in the comments and let me know. This is the first time ever tearing apart a small engine. The only other engine related thing I've ever done is when I was in my late teens. I took the head off of an 84 Ford Escort and replaced a head gasket. Took me a month to take it apart and 8 hours to put it back together. I'm not the quickest person at doing stuff like this, that's for sure. I'd most likely definitely lose my mechanic's job. Customers would be waiting forever for their things, but it gets done, and it gets done right. I've never had a fail that I've fixed come back. Of course, it would be coming back to me because I've only ever fixed my cars and stuff, so. But nothing's ever failed on me that I've fixed, so that's a good thing, I guess. And that's one thing I didn't know, that these they sit side by side right next to each other. I didn't know that. And that's pretty smooth in there on the journal. Very little like no wear on these things at all. You could see a little bit of something, but it feels to the touch very smooth. I would sure like to know why this failed. I don't know if I want to touch that again. That was... I don't think you can get these pistons out from this side with the crankshaft in there. No, because if you have it one way, that's in the way. If you have it the other way, the other thing's in the way. Those pistons are locked down pretty good. Pretty tight in there. So what I'm going to do is take off the exhaust. That's a weird bolt. Might have to save this for next time I'm home. I don't think I have that. I think it's a Torx bolt. I don't think I have any up here. Let me pause this and have a look. Oh, look at that. I just happened to have a bit for a screwdriver that seems to fit, and it fits into a 1/4 socket. So Let me put the extension on that. Get a little higher here. Those came out rather easily. Thought I was going to have to put some muscle into it. Doesn't want to come out. There we go. Oh wow. What little work I've done on exhaust on cars, the bolts are extremely hard. There's one exhaust pipe. I think, from what I read, the new engines don't come with the exhaust pipe, so I'm hoping and praying that the exhaust pipes are kind of universal and I'll be able to use these over. Just maybe have to buy new gaskets. No, the gaskets look really good on them. But, of course, getting them off there is probably going to be where they fall apart completely. Oh, yep. The last one is always the problem one. Oh yeah, where did you go? I'm guessing it must have fell through. Those dogs up there jumping around like crazy. I don't know why. That was fortunate. I had that bit, one of my cases. So now I guess I'll take off all these guards. right socket for them. I don't know really how they're attached, but a lot of soot on that one, on that guard, on the inside of that guard. I don't know what that's from. It's all near the spark plug hole. Maybe it's the exhaust pipe had a leak. What's that attached to? Only do so much work with this engine upside down. One, two, three, four, five. And the intake has different bolts, but I think they also have regular bolt here. I think I'm gonna save that for another video. So the camshaft is in excellent condition except for the missing teeth. The valve, I don't know what you call them, valve rods, 2 aluminum for the intake, 2 steel for the exhaust, are perfect with very little wear. The remaining crankshaft bearing is in pretty good condition. It feels really smooth. Oopsies. The as you can see, inside the engine is perfectly clean. Inside the cover is incredibly clean. Like I said, change the oil. Here's the bolts. They seem to be bolted down pretty good. These bearings have a nice crack in them. There's a piece of the crankshaft. And there's that hole at the bottom there. I don't know if it's supposed to be there or not. Oh yes, yeah, it's supposed to be there. It's for the oil to flow out. So no problem there. So the cover is in good condition. There's no cracks. And not sure if this had a compression release on it or not. That's pretty much all the parts that I found inside. And of course all the little tiny fragments. There's lots of those down there. Everything feels smooth on the crank. And this gear got damaged really good. I'm guessing that was I don't know. Since this would be the bottom, I'm guessing one of the pieces got caught in it. That's my guess. All the valve lifters are in good condition. And you I'm guessing that hole was from a hunk of metal getting hit by that and getting thrown out the side. That's my guess. So on the next one, I will unbolt the head and try to get the pistons out and see what kind of shape they're in. There's a nice little scratch from something flying up and hitting that. And I'll end it there, and like, subscribe, and definitely comment. I want to read your comments. I want to learn. If you have anything to say, please say it. I will reply back to you. See you on the next one. Thanks.